Heckling the other shooting competitors. Heckling your teammates? Yep, we're talking all that with Rob Leatham.
Wait, are we ready now?
No.
Not yet. How about now?
Are we doing this?
Now we're good.
All right. Welcome into Gun Talk Nation. Gun Talk Nation. This Gun Talk Nation is brought to you by Pyramyd, the Airgun Mall, and also ATN Optics, the future of optics. So Rob Latham's here. Welcome in, man.
Thank you for having me.
So wanted to talk about competitive shooting.
Competitive.
So that's your background. That's your world, competitive shooting. Mm-hmm. And I've only kind of dabbled with a few events and stuff like that. But it's one of the things that we were just looking at some old tapes.
Yeah, 95.
Bringing back some old pain.
Memories. It's memories. They're not good ones.
We've been going through these old VHS tapes, and we've been posting them on our video sites, our YouTube page, and guntalk.com and stuff of these events from the 80s and 90s that actually had some pretty good purses, some pretty good winnings, and were on ESPN and sponsored by Chevy trucks. Shooting events, everybody. Right. Okay.
Yeah. It was a magic time for it. You got to remember the practical shooting world really kind of went mainstream in the late 70s, early 80s, with, IPSC shooting, which grew into, USPSA became the United States region. There was the Masters, there was the Bianchi, they still have, and the Chevy, the Chevy team truck or Chevy truck team challenge.
Team challenge,
and
yep.
The thing that was cool about that was we used equipment we didn't use in any of the other matches. So for some of us, it was an excuse to get more guns. So now I got some, $2,000 Ruger 1022s.
I think we can all get on board with that.
Yeah, we're all on board. If you want a new gun, make a match for it, and we're there.
And it was $2,000 in the early 90s.
Yeah, that was big money back then. Because I think a 1022 cost the base gun, and all you wanted was the receiver out of it, was $130.
Right.
So throwing everything else away, we just need the receiver, and you put $800 Macmillan stocks on it and $500 barrels and $2,000 scopes. At the time, you dump a bunch of money, but I still have the rifles. They are, if we went out plinking today, it's the gun. If I took anything I have that I set there, you'd want to just shoot it.
Really?
As long as you could keep loading magazines.
It's just sweet.
Because they shoot so good and they're so fun to shoot. Amazing guns.
Jim Clark Jr. did a bunch of the accurizing on some of that stuff, didn't he?
They were kind of the first people to really start accurizing a couple of the Ruger platform guns. Both his dad, senior, Jimmy would start it off. I think the first guns that he ever did for when he was doing custom pistols for Bullseye were the what's the Ruger Mark IIs? They're up to about
Mark II, Mark III. Now it's Mark IV, I think.
Or something.
Yeah.
And then when they started that event, the 1022s were the best semi-automatic platform to build one on when you took into account, had to function, had to be reliable. It was easy to barrel a 1022. You pull it back out and reload it quickly.
Yeah.
Because you had to be able to not only reload, you had to reload the magazines.
Well, we were just watching 1995 Chevy Trucks Team Challenge. And you guys were using these 22s. Were you shooting Springfield Armory stuff at the time there? But they didn't make 22s.
We didn't make a 1022. Yeah. The only gun that I shot there that were Springfield Armory guns were the frames for the conversion units. I shot 22 conversion units.
Oh, okay.
And the rest of it was all, I shot still have them, Krakoff shotgun, and then those custom 1022s for the rifle.
So in what ways, and Rob couldn't help himself watching this. He was basically doing like Mystery Science Theater 3000, heckling himself and others while watching this video. Of course, this is from 1995. No one can hear you, but you couldn't help yourself. How much did you guys heckle each other back then?
Well, we didn't heckle the other teams because some of the teams were notoriously serious.
They didn't take it well.
Well, you got to respect that. If they want to goof off, everybody can goof off. But if somebody doesn't want to goof off, you leave them alone because you don't want it to end, have that be a factor in it.
Yeah.
As much as I want to beat them, you really want to do it in a certain way. So I wouldn't want to play those kind of games. But amongst our team, it was merciless.
So on that particular team, it was you and Mike Voigt and who else?
Arndt Meyer.
Okay.
So every year we shot together. Every year I shot that match, I shot with those guys.
Okay. And what did you tell Voigt before you guys go up to shoot?
So you didn't see him. There was one year, and I don't remember which year it was. And we only won at one time. We were habitually second to Doug's team, which is either Smith & Wesson or Sierra Starline, depending which time it was.
Right.
And they worked their butts off. So they deserved to beat us because they shot it all year long. And
they actually worked at this?
They worked at it.
Yeah.
We just kind of got together and bought a couple cases of shotgun shells and went out and shot.
The week before.
Well, we'd put a little bit of work into it, but not serious as we probably should have. And so there was a bonus one year. There were bonus targets for every event. And Mike Voigt was shooting the rifle event, and we're done with the rifle event, and they're resetting the cameras and stuff to be able to watch him shoot the bonus. Cause then the guy would walk up, and I don't remember what it was. You got 30 seconds for 3 shots, and they were 1-inch targets or half-inch targets or something just crazy. I don't think anybody hit them at, I don't know, 50 or 70 yards or something like that. And
offhand
with a 22.
Yeah.
And I mean, it just kind of shows, hard love, right? And I said to Mike when he walked up, says, Mike, don't get nervous, anything, just relax and remember, if you miss, we lose. And he looked at me like, wow, thanks a lot. But to me, it was saying like, listen, this isn't going to change our lives.
Right.
Don't get too worked up about it. You're shooting great. Let's have fun with this thing. And for me, that match was always that. Now, when I'm on the line and pulling the trigger, I mean, I'm focused 100% on trying to hit or do whatever I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
But the rest of the time, you couldn't stay too deep into it because, we're a bunch of guys up there getting chance to hang out with your buddies and shoot for $10,000. It's
cases of ammo just laying everywhere.
Oh my God, we shot so many shotgun shells practicing.
Gun Talk Nation is brought to you by Pyramyd Air with 2 Y's. Get that right. These are the guys that do everything air gun. And they actually have a deal for Gun Talk Nation listeners. If you enter Gun Talk Nation at checkout, you'll get $10 off a $50 purchase. We're talking BB guns, air pistols, stuff that you can train with, like a Glock 19 or Glock 17. That's actually a BB gun. So you could train with that at your house, in your basement, that kind of thing. But also guns for hunting. Check them out at pyramydair.com. Also, Springfield Armory. Springfield Armory, they just make so many things, but one of their latest is the Hellcat RDP, Rapid Defense Pistol or Rapid Defense Package. I hope I don't mess that up, but it's a Hellcat that's juiced up. It has a flatter trigger, new trigger system in there. It also is ready with their Hex optic, the Wasp, little micro optic on it, and it also has a self-indexing comp on the front. Control a little bit of recoil, kind of cool, and obviously it has a threaded barrel. So Hellcat, people are loving that gun. It holds plenty of ammo. Check them out at Springfield-Armory.com. And then also Safariland, a new one for us, Safariland. They're kind of one of these trusted by the top competitive shooters, trusted by law enforcement. They make all kinds of holster rigs and belts and that kind of thing. They also make a lot of hearing protection and some pretty high-end, really quality stuff there. So known for quality, we appreciate their support. Check out Safariland. And also, that was on ESPN. The main ESPN channel.
Back then, it was a big deal. They covered that. They covered the Masters. I think they covered the Steel Challenge in IPSC.
Yeah,
at the time.
Very cool.
Shooting was still covered mainstream.
I mean, you're considered a pistol shooter primarily in competition, but you've done some shotgun shooting. And recently you're getting into the PRS side of things.
So I like to try things both new and things that I'm not good at, because it frustrates me to not be good at anything shooting. I just think by nature, if I can't do it, I got to figure out why. And the team challenge was shotgun shooting and precision rifles. And so it was really not my bag, although shotgunning was always fairly easy for me because I just did a lot of that growing up. It was like we went bird hunting all the time and shot shotguns before we shot anything else. And it was just, leading one thing into another. I've been shooting a lot of PRS lately, not very well, because it's a game for flexible people, guys that are fit.
Like not flexible time-wise.
No.
Literally flexible, like
right.
yoga.
Right, exactly. Like when you have to shoot and use a support that's something that's a foot off the ground, I can't get down to that height. So I have to prop myself up on a bunch, they call them pillows, and bags and stuff, and try to find a position, and it looks like a monkey, right? It looks terrible. So it's really never going to be my game, but I'm intrigued by the equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And there's much like, I guess, in golf, when I'm a horrible golfer. I've never loved golf as much as when I quit. And I got to a point where, you remember a few good shots in a round, and then you'd have, many that weren't good.
Well, I've heard that a golf course is a perfectly good waste of a shooting range.
And when I was into motorcycles, every time I looked at a golf course, I said, man, we could put a motocross track in here and it wouldn't look like this very long, but man, there's lots of bumps and
it'd be perfect.
Sand and everything.
Absolutely.
But the PRS thing is kind of the same deal. It's hard for me to do. And it's same as when you hit a good golf shot. That's the one that brought you back the next time. The PRS, when you hit a long range target out of a difficult position, it's very satisfying.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, breaking clay is going,
thing.
oh man. Yeah. And it's that, I think that's a line in Tin Cup, isn't it? It rings in your loins, something like that.
I don't know if it isn't, it should be.
It does. It keeps you coming back. You have a few good shots, whether that's golf or shooting or whatever, and you go, all right, that was fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's if we quit every time we missed, we'd never do it again, because everybody misses.
Talking about the gear, PRS is another one where you can go nutso with getting into the gear. Scope mounts. You'll love this. I had my boat at the mechanic. Go figure. It's a boat.
It's a boat.
Yeah. And he goes, oh, you can do the gun stuff, right? Oh yeah, I do the gun stuff. He goes, oh man, I'm really into long range shooting. Well, okay. Yeah. And he goes, yeah, I started out with this, precision rifle, and now I just put a 20 MOA rail on it. He just starts, I'm like
starting to hit specking you out.
Yeah, he's just going after it. Yeah, we're gonna get out. We're gonna drive over to Georgia. We can shoot 2,300 meters out there, and like
I get it.
And he's just, I just bought this thing and I just bought that thing. But it's kind of true for everything. We were looking at this 95 video, and there was some weird stuff you guys were doing and using back then. Well, by the way, optics on top of pistols.
Oh yeah.
This is 1995.
Well, we didn't invent that. The bullseye shooters have shot optics on pistols for a long time. And that was just a few years after they started becoming popular in the open class pistols for IPSC. Because I think that video we watched was 95, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I think that the first year that Jerry won a national, I think it was 90 or 91. So we had it was all kind of new there. But
what was the chin rest thing?
Oh yeah, Rob Massey had a chin gun in that video.
Chin gun,
because you literally, it came from the Silhouette guys, and I don't know, but I think they outlawed it later. You basically set the gun up so stock is here, which isn't a stock like you think it is. It's a tube sticking out with a butt pad on it.
Okay,
it sits here. I think Tubb might have shot one too then, and then there was a plate. And you rested your chin on it.
You rest your chin on top of the stock.
Right. So the gun's here and your optical sight is here. So your
optical sight is, from your chin to your eye. So we're talking 5-6 inches. Yeah.
And it's not just straight up either. It's offset to the right.
The scope.
Yeah. So you sit here and look at the gun, and the gun is probably tilted a little bit, but the bore is right here. So
you don't tilt your head over to look down the stock and see through the scope.
The way Rob's was set up was the gun was just like this.
Your head is straight up. I'm describing it for the people listening.
Well, you imagine, so you take a set of rings, and then in tall rings, extra high rings. Really tall rings. And on that, you put a tube in it, and you put another set of extra tall rings.
You mount it again.
There are 3 sets of rings on that rifle if you look
basically
close.
Mount it over and over.
Right. So it goes here, here, here. So now the scope's over there. So it won't fit in a case. You have to take it all apart. So every time you shoot it, you got to check your zero again.
So the scope is 6 inches higher than
probably 2 inches right of the bore.
and 2 inches right
so,
of the bore.
So you're shooting this way. So they had to have different.
But if they outlawed it, it must mean that it worked really good.
Well, the guys think about it. So you're not holding the gun up to here. You're literally putting yourself in a position where you go like this.
You're straight up and down.
Now build the gun to be right there.
Yeah.
But now I want to aim up here. So you just rest it on it like this. You watch them. It's really stable. Like I said, I think people that haven't used one struggle with one because it's the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a weird setup. But I think the reason they got outlawed is because they were so far away, from silhouette shooting. They still wanted to think that they're shooting hunting rifles or hunting type rifles.
Right.
So I think the outlawed stuff that was just that.
That happens in the game of competitive shooting, where it comes from your training for whether that's a defensive thing like an IDPA or you're training for hunting like sporting clays.
Mm-hmm.
But then we gamify it.
Oh, we gamify it
very quickly.
My PRS rifle is built on a Springfield Armory, shockingly, right?
Sure.
Shameless product plug. Saint rifle where I've replaced the barrel with the biggest, heaviest thing I could get. Yeah. Right. So it's got a proof barrel that's 24 inches long in 6mm Creedmoor with a different trigger on, and I have weights on the handguards, all those M locks, and with the bipod, it weighs 19.5 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
So it doesn't
move.
And it doesn't move. And it's a 35 power scope. So it wouldn't fit as, I guess the closest thing it would be a tactical rifle.
Yeah.
But it's still gamed out to be just 2 or 3 steps past stupid.
Yes.
But that's what gets me the best performance.
Sure.
And we do that with every
we
game.
do it with everything. So sporting clays, okay, it's a great way to replicate and practice hunting. We have all these different clays being thrown these different ways. We even call the clays a teal or a rabbit or whatever. It's a Flushing mallard, except that. And then we go, wait a minute, I want to break more. So now we're going to start with the gun mounted.
Well, and even worse than that, my sporting clays gun weighs 9.5 pounds.
Right.
How long do you want to carry that on a quail hunt? Right. Uses 32-inch barrels, has a custom stock that I'm scared to death to scratch, and has a high rib on it.
Right.
So when you look at it, you would never confuse that gun and say, yes, that is a hunting shotgun.
You're going to take that out in the field.
That's never going to the fields. Never once.
This is just here to score
just one more if it gets me one more chip.
Yes. Well, I mean, that's true for anything. Cars, bikes, boats, fishing,
Formula One has had to change its rules over the decades all the time when the cars keep getting too fast. NASCAR does it all the time, to the point where they've gone to spec cars now that have the flaps to keep them from flipping, because that if they left it to their original specifications, they'd be going 250 miles an hour on some of the straights on some of the big tracks.
Yeah. And basically mostly male drivers. We're not the smartest. There's a reason why car insurance is higher for us, I think.
We would say that's a good idea. Let's try that.
Take those dang flaps off, and I want to go fast.
How fast your boat go?
Oh, it's not super fast. It's like 45. It's not. It's a pontoon boat. It's just a cruising around.
Okay,
boat.
so it's not a bass boat.
No,
because I've seen some of these bass boats
where it's barely touching the water.
I'm not sure anything's in the water except for maybe the
motor, the lower unit. I've the fastest I've gone,
because the fishing boat's got to be fast to get you to the next place to fish.
Because the fish are going to run away. We got to catch them.
They're still in. They can't leave the lake or the ocean.
This is true. Like, what are they going to hop out? They're contained. It's a lake.
60 mile an hour bass boat. Hey, that's what I got to have.
I went about 95 in a boat one time. And that was a little too fast, I think. I mean, you feel like you're in a roller coaster.
It was
fun though.
I was on a lake, and a guy that started Springfield Armory named Tom Reese got into boats big time, and he had an offshore boat.
Oh yeah.
And I don't ever want to ride in that. He says it'll go 150 miles an hour.
Oh my God.
And he put it on Lake of the Ozarks.
If there are seat belts and you need a helmet to ride in the boat, I'm thinking no.
Well, that's because if you fly out of it at 150 miles an hour, I think you skip You'll long
roll across the top of the water.
You bounce across the water a long time. But that's what we do when it becomes competitive, whether it's fishing, no matter what shooting game, is we always start with something that's relatively sane.
Yeah.
And has a purpose.
It was pure in the intention.
In the beginning, it was pure. And then we said, you know what? I'll throw all that away to get one more point.
Yes.
It's true. It's what we do.
We have jackets
yeah, exactly. But there's
eyeglasses.
There's a trickle down for it.
Yeah.
You know, we now have optic sights on pistols and we have better guns because of it. The extremes aren't what you're hoping. It's a push. Okay, what can we take into that?
Sure. I mean, and that's true for, we were kind of talking about like Formula One and NASCAR and stuff like that. There are things that happen at that level where it's maybe brought into the regular world for us is just better performance in general.
It helps the breed. I mean, if you look at car development, I mean, a lot of that technology comes out of racing. I mean, it really does. Do you need a 700 horsepower truck? Why, yes, I think you do. The reality is you won't use it very often, but there might be a moment that you can make an excuse you might need it, but it's still cool.
We have a policy.
Why can't that be enough?
We have a policy, Rob, on Gun Talk Nation. We don't say the word need, okay, here. There is no such thing as
I need a 700 horsepower truck.
It's just,
Kippy, if you're listening to this, I need a 700 horsepower truck.
This is America. It's not an either or need thing. We just do.
Okay, excellent. Kip, it'll be here tomorrow.
Your permission is granted. I think we know what we should do is we should go on our Gun Talk website and we should have a little permission slip that people can print out. And here is your permission slip to buy your next gun. Ooh, that's a t-shirt idea. I'll write that down. Right. Permission slip to buy next gun. Right. TM. Don't steal it.
Download this. So the printer's right under her desk. And I'll download it and say permission to drive and buy a new truck. I'm gonna see how that plays out.
No, it's cool. I got a permission slip.
Hall pass. All right, I got a hall pass.
It's cool. I can do whatever I want. I want.
It's okay. I said, I'm sorry, honey.
So, okay, changing directions here. The caliber games. You mentioned 6mm.
PRS is the king of the caliber game. Oh my
goodness gracious!
I have sitting in my room right now 6 ARC, 6 BR, 6 GT, 6 Creedmoor, 6.5 Creedmoor, and 6.5 PRC.
And they're all so different.
Oh, they're dramatically different.
So different.
One is, I can justify this if you give me a minute.
Sure.
We'll
do that. Let's go down that road.
I'm going to justify it.
No. You don't understand. You see?
No, that one uses 5 grains too much powder. I only need 2880 with a 105, so it's a waste to do that with the GT because I have to shoot 39 grains of powder to do that. I can do it on this one with merely 33. So look at the cost savings. It's basically amazing.
It'd be fiscally irresponsible to not buy this.
Yes, it's why I have to do it. And sometimes you just need a little bit more. So I need a 6.5 PRC that'll shoot 140s at 3,000 because if there's a 10-mile-an-hour wind and I have to go past 800, that one makes the most sense.
Yeah.
I'll miss less with it, therefore saving money.
Do you do double holsters for these rifles?
You don't have a
bring
holster.
out the 6.5 PRC rifle?
They're in the car.
Scabbard.
Once you start the match, you're required to stay with the same caliber through it. But I have gone to matches with more than one caliber in the car.
Looking at the wind.
You're laughing, but that's not wrong. That's not untrue.
And I'm sure that you are not the only one.
No, most people who are more experienced than I am have more common sense. So they'll look at it and I have cut my options down. I'm shooting a 6 ARC as a practice rifle in the bolt gun. I'm shooting GT for the matches and still shoot Creedmoor, 6 Creedmoor into gas guns. So.
Okay. All right.
But I have lots of options.
And what's funny is 6mm and 6.5 are not new bullets.
Oh,
these bullets have been around a long time. I mean,
6.4, a 6.5 especially.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, that was a Swedish military cartridge in 1890 or something.
6.5 by 55.
That's was Swedish version. Then there were 6.5 Carcanos. There were 6.5 Japs. There were so many different 6.5 calibers.
Karamojo Bell kill about 100 elephants with the 6.5.
He shot, but he's one of the great big long round nose bullets. Maybe it was 6.555.
I feel like it was.
I think you're probably right.
I guess
that
if you know
bullet
what
had
you're
a
doing.
sectional density of about 1 million.
Exactly.
So if it stayed stabilizing point first, it had so much mass behind it that it penetrated.
Yeah, and he knew where to put it.
Yeah,
That's
something about that.
So going out to distance, and then when we go all the way back to, now we have precision rimfire matches. Well, now you can. Now what, Rob?
I have 3.
You do?
Yeah.
Precision rimfire?
I have. They're called Voodoos.
Yep.
And you're familiar with them?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a lot of hands-on experience. I just know they're kind of.
Well, fundamentally,
the hotness.
Fundamentally, it's a magazine-fed alteration of like the old 40Xs. So it's the same size as a Remington 700 centerfire action.
Jesus.
If you look at it from the left side, you can't see the magazine, you can't tell it's not a centerfire gun until you look at the right, and the injection port's small. And it's a work of art. But I've got several of them because one's got a 13 twist barrel and the other one has a 16. So you had to have the other one.
You had to.
Because for ELR 22,
extreme long range 22 precision. He's sick, people. He's sick.
It's bad. It's bad because I needed a 60-minute of angle mount to be able to get out to 500 and still
500 yards with a 22.
Yeah, they're probably coming in at about that angle.
Yeah, the lawn darts at this point.
It maybe pretty good example. So you have to have special targets. They have little flashers on it, so when you hit them, you can tell. But that is, I can't remember what it is. It's humongous amount of drop. I mean, it's almost artillery. I mean, it's really close.
Yes.
It's just like pink, and you can see the bullet in the scope. You see it go up, and you see it come back down.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a 22. It's not going fast.
What's the flight time? It's still starting off at 1,100 and whatever 50 feet per second. So what's the flight time? It's several seconds.
Yeah.
If you could see the muzzle flash, if I shot at you at 500 and you saw the muzzle flash,
you're standing next to the target.
You could just walk away. Because it's gonna be 1,001, 1,002, and then land there. I have no idea how fast they're going there. But I do have a ballistic program that I purchased that can tell me if you want me to tell you.
Of course you do.
Of course.
Yes. Jeez. What kind of scopes are you using for that?
Night Force 7 to 35 attackers.
For the 22s?
Yes. You got
wait, a 7 to 35 power scope.
Mm-hmm. When you're shooting, most of the shots for standard NRL 22 happen in under 100 yards.
Right.
But to make it a challenge, because that particular gun, my number one gun with the right ammo will shoot a group barely larger than a bullet diameter at 25.
Wow.
And at 50, I checked the 0-1 time and I shot 10 shots at a 9mm bullet hole and didn't increase the size of the bullet hole.
So they're all going through the hole.
All through a 9mm. So that's a 350.
That's a 0.38.
Right. So 350. So that's a 355 diameter bullet hole.
Right.
So every shot went in it. So you do the math on what the outside of a 17 is. So it's 1/4 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch group or whatever it is at 50 yards. Now the distance, the coolest thing about practicing with the 22s, especially for the long range, is the wind drift on the 22 is just crazy. You get 10-mile-an-hour gusty winds at 100 and you see huge
bullets.
Wind drifts.
What bullet weights are you guys using?
They're 40s.
40s.
It's almost all 40s. They haven't really changed ammo much for it. They build guns for what there is.
Mm-hmm.
But they're, God, you're gonna go. They're making VLD.
I see the rabbit hole. We're stepping into it.
They're starting to make VLD solid bullets for 22s that you have to reload.
For 22 long rifle.
But it needs a 9-twist barrel, so obviously I need another gun.
You hear that, Kippy?
Yeah, it might even be faster. Some of those really long VLDs might need more, but you don't need that necessarily for the 50 yard and even to 100 depending on the wind. But that bullet is dramatically better BC wise. It's half again better. So it's obviously I need one of those.
It's probably
I don't want to load 22. It sounds like a lot of work though.
Yeah, because I'm thinking the rimfire.
I don't know how you do it.
You're going to pull the bullet carefully.
I think the way it's set up is they sell you brass that's primed but not loaded.
Ooh.
And then you load it, and I have no idea what you loaded rimfire with.
I'm just going to go ahead for legal right now and say we don't condone or advise
any part of this.
Any of that. I don't know how this would work.
I have no idea. I've never done it. I was hoping you're going to work it out for me.
but you're right. It sounds like it's inevitable. We're heading that direction. Now, right now, as we sit here recording this in April of 2021, not a single ammo company really needs to or wants to create new products. I mean, even though there are some new things coming out. They're just trying to crank on the regular stuff because we all are trying to find ammo.
Right.
That being said, we were kind of hinting at, in general, as we get into probably end of this year into early next year, it's very possible that there's a lot of new stuff that has been sitting there in R&D with the engineers, whether that's guns, ammo, optics, whatever, that they haven't brought out for the last 18 months. Because why?
We don't need to.
Yeah.
You know, if changing anything on our production lines cuts product availability in any way, shape, or form, that does not help anybody right now. So there is stuff being developed that would have probably been announced like at NRA show or maybe even SHOT Show this year that I know that's getting pushed back. But even some of the R&D packages aren't complete because we're too busy doing what we're doing.
Sure.
To worry about it. But there's lots of stuff in the works.
Yeah, that's exciting for all of us.
It is.
And probably a lot of people listening go, there are some that will go, that's cool. I just want you guys to make more Hellcats or more Saints or on the ammo side, just make more FMJ stuff. I don't care about innovation currently because
that's, and you can fully feel it when you can't walk into a store and buy a box of 9mm ammo.
Yeah.
Or 22 ammo.
Yeah.
45, 308, 223, whatever you pick. That's a real problem. And the manufacturers, it's not like they're not producing ammo.
Oh, they're cranking.
We are eating it up like never before. And that's what's causing the problem. And it's for everybody. I hope
that I hope it calms down a little bit. But at the same time, I also hope that everybody buying up this stuff actually, when they feel less scared about being able to get more of it, that you go out there and shoot. Yep. And also these 8 or 9 million new gun owners, go out there and shoot your gun.
Yep.
Don't keep it in the box.
Well, such a weird thing happened last year due to social climate, little unrest possibly. People bought guns that never bought guns before. Mm-hmm. So we have a lot of, I'm going to use the term anti-gunner or non-gunners, not anti-gunners. I meant to say that wrong. Non-gunners. They're not people that really care about guns one way or the other. But when things went south last year with all the rioting and all that happened, there were people that would have never considered one and I know some that said, hey, I need to get a gun. I want to get a gun. I'm like, why? I mean, you're as liberal as they get. Why in the world do you want a gun? It says, because if something happened, I'm going to be the first one to the scene of a crime, and I need to be the person to be able to take care of myself. And I said, you're absolutely right. Let that be a thought when the voting procedure comes up. And that's what we're dealing with right now. We have lots and lots of people, and those people buy a box of 9mm ammo for $1.50 a round, don't think about it because they're not planning on shooting it.
True.
They go and they load the magazines they got, and then they sit it in their
a box of 20 of defensive ammo is $30, right? That's what it costs.
Right.
And I mean, what's $30? You go, well, I understand $30 isn't breaking the bank, but for a lot of us,
if you want to shoot a lot,
we're talking about, thousands of rounds a month or whatever your allotment might be.
Right.
Yeah.
That becomes a lot when it becomes over $1,000 for that ammo that 2 years ago would have cost you $200. It's a huge difference.
Have you taken some of these new folks shooting or
tons of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that been like?
I'll never, it's, you know what? I got to be honest with you. The ones that say, I want to go shoot. Okay. I'll take you shooting, but I'm not going to give you ammo. I mean, you're going to have to get your own ammo. I don't have the ammo to give you or sell you or vice versa.
Yeah.
And when they want to go shoot, I'll take them every time. And when they finally do show up, it is never what they think it is. They have these thoughts of what they've been presented in the media and of what a gun is. And they go and shoot and they go like, this is just a thing.
Exactly.
This is a hammer. This is, I mean, I'd be much more dangerous with my car than I ever would with this gun. I said, well, you're right.
Yeah. It's just a device.
It's a tool. It doesn't have any soul to it. And it doesn't make decisions. You make the decisions.
Do they realize they've been lied to?
No, most of the time they don't. Whichever way you want to classify that person, most of the time, I have friends that didn't vote for Trump because they hate Trump and then wanted to buy guns, and I won't sell it to them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have a whole bunch of those. So good. Will you sell me one? Hell no. You voted against the rights to have those things by the decisions you made. So you're going to have to go find it somewhere else. I'll still help you go shooting, but I'm not going to deplete, like I've got a couple of those that I could technically sell you if I wanted to. I'm not going to.
I wonder how many of these, because we know these are the non-gun people,
non-gunners.
And we know that they're from different walks of life. They're
everywhere.
And like you said, there are the, maybe on the liberal slant or whatever, right? I wonder how much they realize that when this current administration talks about restricting guns, that eventually it does trickle down to whatever the gun that you just bought is.
They don't put the two and two
They
together.
think, well, I don't even know what a stabilizing brace is, or I don't own an AR-15. Well, it's not about that.
They don't think it's them. They think that what they're doing is voting to control the illegal use of firearms.
Right.
They think that by me voting for that, they're going to make sure that the criminals don't do bad things.
Somehow magically,
they're not going to do. So it never occurs to them that the shotgun they just bought or the pistol they just bought isn't going to be affected by this, because they're not a bad person and they're not going to do any crimes, much like most of the gun owners.
Yeah. How many people, I mean, who are the people that are these laws for? I mean, we look at recent stuff. These people who commit some of these bad public crimes, not the just regular criminal folks, but these public, shooting events, they pass the background check.
Right.
So your universal background check would have done nothing. And also,
well, none of the laws that we have enough laws in place.
Sure.
But what we can't stop is insanity and crazy and bad judgment.
Yeah, bad behavior.
And evil. And there's evil. There is evil in the world.
Well, a lot of that, I think, on that side of political thinking is, a lot of it is, to me, I'm just be honest, grow up.
Right.
There are two sides. There's I believe everybody, nothing bad should ever happen. And there's the side that says, you know what? Bad things do happen.
They do happen.
This is like real life. And, people have been killing each other with rocks and stones and swords and all this stuff. This is not new. The world has not actually become more violent. In many ways, it's less violent. We're a civilized society these days. There's some old books you could read, I think, that are written 2,000 years ago and stuff.
Talk a lot about things like that and how you should conduct yourself.
Right.
There are. Well, it's obviously we can sit here and throw out the stats that everybody already knows and hears all the time. But the reality is the people, a vast number of the people who bought guns in the last 18 months did so out of fear to protect themselves.
Right.
And they come from all sides. They come from anywhere from liberals to, people that are totally pro-gun and all the other things, and somewhere in between. And I think the part we overlook at some point is that everybody has the right.
Sure.
My family members who want to have firearms have the right to have them. And
the thing is, you don't have to convert half of them to be gun rights supporters. You don't even have to convert 20% of them. I mean, if you convert 10% of these people, if everybody that had a gun, if in their lifetime, or let's say a gun person instead of have a gun, if somebody came up to them and had the desire to learn more about it, if you would take them under your wing, and you're not trying to convince them, don't put them through that. But they are interested and want to know. So you take them out and say, listen, I don't care if you ever own a gun or not, but you want to shoot some and see what they're really about. First off, teach them to be safe, teach them the operation of it. You wouldn't give them a car and say, hey, you know what? You want to drive my You've never driven a car? Here's a car.
Here's mine. Go take it. You wouldn't do that. So be responsible in it and let them make their own decisions, because the vast majority of people that I've dealt with that were inexperienced shooters or non-shooters change their outlook. It doesn't mean they become gun people, but they walk away going, this is not what it's been presented to me as.
Well, I feel like you got to be honest with yourself, and a lot of us aren't, to go, instead of saying, I have all these strong opinions about it, why don't you just say, I don't know much about that? Because my inclination is, if somebody goes, well, I don't know about this, these guns are scary, maybe we got to do something about this. Go, have you ever shot a gun?
Right. Just ask that question.
I mean, have you ever shot a gun? Would you like to?
Yeah. Follow it up. Do you want to? Take them out. Take a 22. Take something that's in between whatever you think is big or not. Let them shoot a 38 or a 9mm. And then
just some nice, comfortable shooting stuff.
I always do the same thing. I don't take little hard kicking guns. I always take something big and easy to shoot. I give them a 22 and I follow the same process, put one round in it and say, listen, if you shoot this one shot and don't ever want to do it again, I'm fine. We'll pack up and go to lunch. Right. I'm fine with that. And they shoot one and I say, okay, if you're done, I'm not going to judge you or anything. As you want to stop, they all go, no, I want to do it again. And by the time you're done, the vast majority of them will shoot whatever you'll let them shoot.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You hand them a semi-automatic 22 rifle, a 10-22 or something like that. And if you have a little 22 can on that and you bring it out and there's a magazine and you can, oh my gosh. And then they put it up to their shoulder. You show them the deal and it goes, pop, pop, you go, that was it? Yeah. Yeah. That was it. You just shot a semi-automatic.
Oh my God. You just shot a gun.
Yeah.
Well, and so I've always found the 9mm 45 was the breaking point. So you let them shoot the 22s and they'll shoot those until you're out of ammo or they're out of ammo. Then you give them a 9, they'll shoot a few of those and they say, you want to shoot a 45? If you don't want to, it's fine. Don't. Right. Or a 10, they're very similar. And they'll shoot one shot and hey, it's 50-50. Half of them go, ooh, that's too much. Okay. Forget that. Okay. Tell your friends you shot a 45.
Yeah, that's right. You can tell your friends.
Tell your friends you shot a 45 and we don't have to shoot it again.
Well, a couple things that come to mind with this, and I like kind of brainstorming on how to approach this, and hopefully our audience takes a couple ideas from it. One is when we talk about guns and kids, we want to teach kids gun safety, but there's also a part that some people miss is I think it's important to demystify the gun. Yeah. And that works for adults too, who've never have any experience with guns. And now you demystify it. I shot it. Oh, that's all there is to this. Right.
It isn't what they think it is.
Right.
And so I can give you an interesting little story. One, my wife, Kippy, runs a training program and almost all she teaches are new lady shooters. Okay. That's where she doesn't do any advertising because it's one person will say they'll tell their friends and then she gets all her people from friends. And that's exactly how she takes it out. They all start and they shoot almost always, I think, a 22 and then I think she uses an XD, 5-inch XDs for most of them and they shoot it. And that's every one turns into 2 more people she gets. Yeah. Well, women are better at telling people if they buy a shirt on sale, they tell 5 people that I bought this shirt on sale and where I got it. And if you have a shirt and I go, nice shirt, dude, you go, yeah, thanks. Yeah. That's as far as it goes. As far as it goes. Wait, didn't we already establish there was a problem with this one? I'm so thrilled with this shirt right now. Michael was criticizing it. Michael did not like it. It was a problem with. But an interesting story for me growing up is when my boys were in the elementary school. So there were guns all over the house. I mean, probably same as where you grew up. There are guns because the guns were just a thing and my kids were desensitized to it. They knew not to touch anything. Right. So you got to understand it's really just a training and familiarization thing. And if you know not to touch the snake, then the snake doesn't ever bite you. Right. So it's that simple. And I'll never forget the day I'm sitting there working on a bunch of guns and I've got them out on the floor of the family room. And my son comes in through the door with some of his friends and they're all making a bunch of yakking noise. And then my son looks at me and goes like, oh, Dad, can you please put your guns away? We want to come in and watch TV. And it wasn't like, oh my God, we're scared. It was like, oh, you're occupying our space. Can you just go all over the place? Can you go to your room? You've got rooms for this. Why are you out here? And then the neighbor kids were all like, yeah, oh my God, those are guns. So the kids are all like, and I never take any liberties at that point and say, you want us to hold a gun? Right. Never do that. Different deal. Yeah. I say, listen, if you guys are interested, you go get your parents And if your parents will come with us, we'll go shoot sometime if you want.
Yeah.
But it's you, and you got to talk your parents into it, because I'm not going to be responsible for you, but I'll teach you guns because.
Yeah, it's important. And I try to always encourage our audience to invite people to go shooting and do it. Also, we have another tool in our tool belt, which is we can complain about social media. And we also all complain it, and we also use it
all the time.
But there is so for any business, any business, if you are in a business that invites the public in, I'm a marketing guy. You have to have some sort of place that's like a selfie station. Mm-hmm. You have to have that. And there are businesses that do this, right? Well, there is almost nothing more selfieable or postable than look at me, I shot a gun today.
Right.
Especially if it's not something you do every day. If it's you or me, people are like, yeah, there's Ryan with the gun again.
For the non-gunners, it's
my goodness. Look at this.
This is like an out there thing.
Yeah. You think about places like Machine Gun Las Vegas, where they rent guns for people to just experience shooting a gun. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole business model. But that's a power that we have as a gun community. When you're bringing new people, ask them, because I know they're going to want to anyway. Do you want me to take a picture of you with the gun?
I never thought about that.
And now they're going to share it. When then their friends are going to go, wait, you shot a gun? And probably a lot of their friends. We all live in this echo chamber, and probably their echo chamber is friends who don't shoot.
Right.
They're going to wait. What was it like? Oh, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Were you scared? Did it hurt you? No, it was pretty good. Yeah. That's a power of like, whew, okay, let's make this thing shareable, which we have shareable content.
Yeah, we do. The vast majority of people I take shooting enjoy the process of shooting.
Absolutely. Rob, thanks for being with us, man.
It's my pleasure. Thanks.
All right. That's it for us. We'll see you next time on Gun Talk Nation.